Welcome to another deep dive, your shortcut to getting up to speed. Today is April 23rd, 2025, so yesterday, April 22nd, was actually Earth Day.
That's right. And quite a milestone this year, too.
It is, isn't it? The 55th anniversary since the very first Earth Day back in 1970.
Exactly. And it's more than just a date on the calendar, wouldn't you say? It's a really crucial time to reflect on our relationship with the planet.
Absolutely. So today we're going to explore where Earth Day came from, its global impact, and importantly, the specific theme for this year, 2025.
And we'll be drawing on various sources, including some interesting perspectives from Italy.
Perfect. We know you, our listeners, often want to get a thorough understanding quickly, so this deep dive should give you exactly the key things to know about Earth Day right now.
Sounds good. Where should we start? Origins.
Yeah, let's start at the beginning.
Yeah.
How did Earth Day actually, begin, and how did it grow into this massive global event?
Okay. So it all started in the United States. 1970. Picture this. 20 million Americans took to the streets.
20 million, wow.
Yeah. Huge numbers. They were protesting against, the big environmental issues of the time, oil spills, factory pollution, things that were becoming really visible and concerning.
A kind of mass wake-up call then.
Very much so. And it wasn't just a protest, it had real teeth.
How so? What happened as a result?
Well, that first Earth Day is credited with pushing forward some major changes. It led directly to the creation of the United States Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA.
Right, the EPA. That's huge.
It was. And also the passage of landmark environmental laws. Think Clean Air, Clean Water Act, Endangered Species Act. It really shifted how environmental protection was seen, making it a government responsibility.
It's amazing that one day could spark such fundamental changes. So how did it spread beyond the U.S.?
That took a bit longer. The big jump to a global event happened in 1990.
Okay, 20 years later.
And the scale was massive.
Yeah.
Organizers reported over 1 billion people participating across hundreds of countries.
1 billion? That's incredible. What do you think fueled that international growth?
Well, I think there was just a growing realization that environmental problems, things like climate change, deforestation, they don't respect borders. It became clear it was a shared global challenge.
And then the UN got involved officially.
Exactly. The United Nations now officially observes Earth Day every year on April 22nd. It involves pretty much the whole world. 193 countries participate.
So April 22nd is the date.
It is. Though, interestingly, there was an earlier proposal. Back in 1969, a peace activist named John McConnell suggested honoring the Earth on the first day of spring, March 21st, at a UNESCO conference.
So the spring equinox idea was floated even earlier.
Yeah, a slightly different timing, but the same core idea of dedicating a day to the planet.
Okay, that gives us a good sense of the history. Let's shift to this year, 2025. What's the focus? What's the theme?
The theme for 2025 is Our Power, Our Planet.
Our power, our planet. Okay, what does that mean in practice?
It puts a really strong focus on renewable energy. The call from the organizers is quite ambitious. They're urging nations to triple the world's renewable energy generation capacity by 2030.
Triple it by 2030. That's a huge target, only 5 years away.
It is. It's a massive undertaking, focusing primarily on things like solar, wind, and hydropower, scaling up the technologies and the infrastructure needed.
A critical goal, obviously, for tackling climate change. And what about individuals? How are people encouraged to get involved with this theme?
The push is for active participation, signing petitions, joining protests or demonstrations, basically making your voice heard and raising public awareness about the need for this energy transition.
And this theme changes each year, right?
That's right. It keeps the focus fresh and highlights different urgent issues. In recent years, themes have included tackling plastic pollution, protecting biodiversity. It shows how multifaceted the environmental challenge really is.
Okay, let's bring this closer to home, or at least to Italy, as you mentioned. How is Earth Day viewed and marked there? I think you said there's a specific Italian name for it.
Yes, in Italy, it's known as Giornata Mondiale della Terra.
Giornata Mondiale della Terra. World Earth Day.
Exactly. And that name itself, it really emphasizes this idea of a universal call to care for our shared home, this fragile, precious planet. Participation in Italy is widespread, fitting right in with that global reach across the 193 countries.
And I understand there's a strong connection with Pope Francis's work.
Absolutely. You can't really talk about environmental consciousness in Italy, or arguably globally now, without mentioning Pope Francis's 2015 encyclical, Laudato Si.
Laudato Si. On care for our common home.
Precisely. And what was really groundbreaking about it was how it explicitly linked environmental degradation with social justice. The idea that you can't fix one without addressing the other. It challenged the view that environmentalism was somehow separate from human concerns.
That famous line from it, tutto è connesso.
Everything is connected. Yes, exactly. It's a core message. It really underscores this sense of shared responsibility.
So building on that interconnectedness, what practical actions are suggested from the Italian perspective for individuals?
Well, the suggestions are quite practical, things many of us have heard but are always worth repeating. The classic reduce, reuse, recycle. Choosing sustainable transport, saving energy and water at home.
Planting trees, thinking about food.
Yes, planting trees, eating more sustainably, choosing eco-friendly products where possible, and importantly, just talking about it, spreading awareness.
And what about demands on the government level in Italy? What are the calls to action there?
They're pretty comprehensive. Pushing for a genuine ecological transition, which means, fundamental shifts in economic and social systems towards sustainability.
So big systemic changes.
Big changes. Investing seriously in renewables, protecting forests and biodiversity, ensuring clean air and water access, actually listening to the science.
Listening to science.
Preserving natural resources, fighting climate change head-on, making sure environments are livable, building a truly sustainable economy, and crucially, passing on both the responsibility and the knowledge to future generations.
That's a very thorough list. It covers a lot of ground. Now, you also mentioned another specific Italian angle related to land use.
Yes, the issue of consumo di suolo, or soil consumption, is a really significant concern in Italy, and it ties directly into the spirit of Earth Day, conserving our natural resources. There's an article, Il Gestilute, that highlights this well.
Okay, Il Gestilute. What does it bring out in relation to Earth Day? What's the main concern?
Well, echoing the concerns of Earth Day, the article points to some frankly alarming data from ISPRA, the Italian Environmental Protection Agency.
What kind of data?
It states that every single second in Italy, 8 square meters of virgin land are covered over paved with cement or asphalt.
8 square meters. Every second.
Every second. And that soil is essentially lost forever, or at least for centuries, because fertile soil takes so long to form. It's an irreversible loss.
That's staggering. And what are the practical consequences of paving over so much land?
Well, the immediate ones are an increased risk of landslides and floods. When the ground can't absorb rainwater because it's sealed, the water runs off much faster.
Right, it overwhelms drainage systems, saturates slopes.
Exactly. Makes them much more prone to collapse. And another striking fact is that the amount of artificialized land per person in Italy had actually doubled in the last 50 years.
Doubled. But has the population doubled?
No, that's the point. There hasn't been a proportional demographic growth to explain it. It suggests changes in development patterns.
Do we have any more specific regional data? You mentioned Friuli, Venezia Giulia earlier.
Yes, the article provides some figures for that region.
Right.
Between 1980 and 2000, over 5,400 hectares of agricultural land were urbanized there, about a 1.9% reduction.
Okay.
And over 470 hectares of natural areas, including almost 250 hectares of forests, went the same way. The overall percentage of urbanized land increased by nearly 9%.
Wow. And in terms of net loss?
A net loss of almost 6,500 hectares of agricultural land in those 2 decades, which works out to about 8,000 square meters being urbanized every day.
The size of a football pitch, every single day.
Pretty much. And the key thing here isn't just the loss of farmland. It's the long-term, often irreversible impact of seemingly small development decisions on the ecosystem's resilience and our ability to manage resources like water.
It certainly puts planning decisions into sharp perspective. What kind of questions does this context raise, especially around Earth Day?
It forces some fundamental questions about urban planning, doesn't it? What value do we place on sustainable agriculture? What about the economic potential of the landscape itself as a resource, say, for tourism?
And people are taking action.
Yes. The article mentions a local march organized in a place called Oriano at this site, Il Cistilu. It's an agricultural area that's facing significant residential development. So it's become a symbol, a focal point for raising awareness about this kind of resource exploitation timed with Earth Day.
A concrete example of communities mobilizing. Okay, let's try and pull these threads together. What are the main takeaways from our deep dive today?
Well, we've seen Earth Day has this long, impactful history of raising environmental awareness, starting in the U.S. and becoming truly global. We've looked at the specific 2025 focus on renewable energy, our power, our planet's theme, and the ambitious goal to triple renewables.
Right.
And we've explored the urgent calls for action, both for individuals and governments, really brought to life by looking at the Italian context, the connection to Laudato Si, and especially the pressing issue of land preservation and soil consumption.
And across all of this, there's this recurring idea echoed in the Italian sources, too, that even small everyday actions matter. They add up.
Absolutely. Every little bit helps. Which leads us maybe to a final thought for you, our listeners.
Go on.
Considering that interconnectedness Pope Francis talks about in Laudato Si, and seeing these tangible examples of environmental change like the land use issues in Italy, what's one specific action, however small it might seem, that you could commit to today? Something that aligns with the spirit of Earth Day and that theme of our power, our planet.
A challenging question to leave us with. Something concrete we can each do for our shared future.
Exactly. A small step for our common home.